Hi team, my name is Mr. Powell. I'm the historian and teacher at Knowable World. Welcome to the first installment of our Introduction to Chinese History Anchor Fact series of printables and mini lessons. At Knowable World, we teach history as the revelation and explanation of the world we live in. In this series, we are going to learn about the history of China. Don't forget to go to the Knowable World website for the full printables package and this entire series available on demand. The printables are packed with quizzes and activities and a timeline that will help you learn the story. So let's get started. When I was your age, when your parents were your age, China did not seem to be a particularly important country to us. It was one of the poorest and most isolated countries in the world. Almost nothing was made in China. Clearly, there has been a big change in the world we live in. What happened? The answer is that the communist country of China became freer in 1978 when the leader of the country, named Deng Xiaoping, said the following words: "To get rich is glorious." Now, most Americans take the idea of working hard and becoming rich, if you can, as a normal thing. In China, however, it was illegal until 1978. It was impossible. That is because under communism, no one is allowed to have private property, and no one has the right to the pursuit of happiness. This is something that we will take the time to explore during this course. It is in some ways a difficult topic because communism started in Russia, not China, and we need to learn some of the background story in order to make sense of it. We will do that as a part of this series. But for now, it's enough to say that under communism, no one could get rich in China, and then, starting in 1978, they could. And they did. The Made in China Revolution began. All you have to do to understand it is go on a scavenger hunt in your own house. Simply turn things over and look for those three simple words, "Made in China." You will find them often. The result is like nothing we have ever seen in history. By some estimates, more than 500 million people have been lifted out of poverty since 1978. That is more than the entire population of the United States. By itself, it's one of the greatest stories of progress in all of human history. And it is all possible because the government of China stopped getting in people's way. It allowed them to have a freedom that they did not have before. Is this all good? Sadly, no. It is important to understand that even though the Chinese people now are much richer than they were in 1978, they are not free. There is no democracy in China. There is no voting. The people are not allowed to choose their leaders. The Chinese Communist Party, or CCP, is still in complete control of the country with its current leader, Xi Jinping. If a Chinese person criticizes the government, it is not uncommon for them to simply disappear. This happened to a man that famously took part in a protest against the Chinese government in 1989. A picture was taken of him standing in front of a line of tanks that was being sent to kill protesters in Tiananmen Square in Beijing, the capital of China. The protesters wanted democracy. Instead, the government massacred them. In fact, the leader at the time was Deng Xiaoping. So he told the people that to get rich is glorious, but what was still true was that you cannot speak your mind and you cannot protest against the government. If you look at the American Bill of Rights, those are the first things that are mentioned, and that Americans have a right to do, because their freedom is protected. Chinese people do not have those rights. So China has become a very strange place. You can work hard and make a lot of money, but you cannot say anything to criticize the Chinese government. Does this mean that China is an enemy of the United States? That's a difficult question. But one thing is definitely true. China is not a friend of America or of freedom. What China wants is pretty simple. It wants to be the Middle Kingdom of East Asia. By studying history, we will learn what that means and what the very important country of China wants from the world we live in. And by the way, if you want to get a head start, please come to the Knowable World YouTube channel where you will find interviews with Knowable World students who have studied China. They can teach you Chinese history. Live classes for students from 3rd to 12th grade are an important part of the Knowable World program and the best way to learn history. I hope to see you there. And I look forward to continuing this mini lesson and printable series with you. See you next time.